But that B12 leak is only half of the equation. If you want to understand why your battery is draining so fast, we have to look at the environment you've built around yourself. You probably think you live in a modern, comfortable, climate-controlled environment, but your biology? Your biology thinks you are trapped in a perpetual winter. Let me explain what I mean by cellular hibernation. Humans evolved to synthesize a critical hormone, vitamin D, through our skin, using specific wavelengths of ultraviolet B light from the sun. This isn't just a bone vitamin, it is a master hormone that dictates your baseline energy production, your immune resilience, and your circadian rhythm. It tells your brain when to be alert and when to power down. But look at how most of us live today. The low-E architectural glass in your car, the tinted windows in your office, and the double-paned glass in your home are all specifically engineered to filter out exactly the UVB rays your body desperately needs to manufacture this hormone. You might be looking out at a bright, sunny day, but biologically, you are sitting in the dark. I see this constantly in my practice. Take Elaine, a 58-year-old consultant from Chicago I worked with recently. Elaine was the absolute definition of disciplined. She was out of bed by 5:30 a.m., in the gym under fluorescent lights by 6, and at her desk by 8. She was eating clean, exercising daily, and yet she told me she felt like she was dragging a lead weight behind her by early afternoon. When we looked at her lifestyle, her exhaustion wasn't a lack of effort. It was a lack of biological signal. Elaine completely missed the morning sun window. By the time she finally stepped outside for a quick lunch, the crucial early morning light that sets the brain's circadian clock had passed. And because she spent the rest of her day behind UV-blocking office windows, her vitamin D receptors were essentially sitting empty. Her body wasn't preparing for a productive afternoon, it was preparing for winter hibernation. You cannot outwork or out-caffeinate a body that fundamentally believes it should be asleep. But let's say you fix the light. Let's say your B12 levels are optimal. There is a third biological bottleneck that is completely draining the energy of high achievers over 55, and it happens right at your desk. Let me tell you about Richard, a 64-year-old executive from Austin. Richard prided himself on his diet. He wasn't eating junk food. He was having organic spinach and grilled salmon for lunch every single day. But his energy was still tanking every afternoon. Why? Because of exactly how he was eating it. Richard ate his nutrient-dense lunch in about 7 minutes, staring intensely at his monitor, firing off stressful emails, and taking calls. Here is the exact physiology of what Richard was doing to himself. Your autonomic nervous system operates in two main gears, the sympathetic state, which is your fight or flight mode, and the parasympathetic state, which is your rest and digest mode. When you are answering high-stakes emails, solving urgent problems, or scrolling through alarming news feeds on your phone, your brain signals to your body that you are under threat. In this state, your biology doesn't care about digesting salmon. It shunts blood flow away from your gastrointestinal tract and pushes it outward toward your muscles and your extremities. Your digestive enzymes halt. Your stomach acid production drastically drops. So Richard was eating a pristine $20 health food lunch, but his body was only extracting a fraction of the nutrients. He was trapping his nervous system in a state of high alert, effectively shutting down the very absorption pathways he needed to fuel his brain for the rest of the day. You can eat the cleanest diet in the world, but if your nervous system is in fight or flight, you are going to starve your cells. This is why I tell my patients that treating burnout and brain fog means looking at the systems, not just the symptoms. You can't supplement your way out of a broken absorption pathway. In fact, before you buy another expensive energy supplement, I want you to take a different approach. The next time you are at the pharmacy, I want you to ask your pharmacist this exact question. Are any of the medications I take daily, especially my acid blockers or my blood pressure prescriptions, known to deplete or block the absorption of vitamin B12 or other essential nutrients? Bring this specific concern to your pharmacist or your doctor. They are experts in these drug nutrient depletions, and you might be shocked by what they tell you. Often, the very pill you take to manage the stress of your lifestyle is the exact thing pulling the plug on your energy reserves. Have you ever experienced this kind of sudden, heavy brain fog right around 3 p.m. and just brushed it off as normal aging? Let me know in the comments below, because I promise you, it is not just getting older. So, we have a frayed electrical system from blocked B12. We have a body trapped in cellular hibernation from blocked sunlight. And we have a nutrient extraction engine completely shut down by chronic, invisible stress. How do we actually fix this? How do we open this biological bottleneck without quitting our jobs or completely upending our lives? The answer isn't another pill. It is a precise daily biological routine. So, how do we rebuild this broken system? How do we flip the switches back to on without adding 5 new expensive supplements to your medicine cabinet or completely upending your career? We do it by rebuilding your biological baseline. I call this the energy extraction protocol, and it consists of 3 deliberate daily additions and a very specific stop doing list. Step number 1, the morning light window. We have to pull your body out of cellular hibernation. Tomorrow morning, I want you to get outside within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. You don't need a 2-hour hike. You need 10 to 15 minutes of direct early morning sunlight on your skin and in your eyes. Do not wear sunglasses for this brief window, and do it early when the UV index is exceptionally low and safe. Why is this so critical? That specific angle of morning light hits your retina and sends a direct signal to the suprachiasmatic nucleus in your brain. It shuts off your sleep hormones and triggers your natural cortisol awakening response. More importantly, this brief exposure primes your skin's receptors for vitamin D synthesis later in the day and resets your circadian rhythm. You are actively telling your biology, the sun is up, winter is over, it is time to produce energy. Step number 2, midday digestive priming. We need to rescue your B12 absorption by waking up your digestive fire, which has been suppressed by stress and age. Instead of just eating a random lunch, I want you to introduce specific fermented gut support paired with digestive spices. Take a few spoonfuls of high-quality, unsweetened probiotic food like plain kefir, cultured yogurt, or raw sauerkraut. But here's the secret. Add a pinch of warming, digestive spices like ground ginger or cumin. In my practice, I explain this as turning the key in the ignition before you hit the gas pedal. The fermented food provides the living bacteria necessary to balance your microbiome, while the ginger and cumin gently stimulate your stomach's parietal cells to produce the optimal amount of stomach acid. When you have adequate natural stomach acid, your body can successfully produce the intrinsic factor we talked about earlier. Suddenly, the B12 in your food isn't just passing through your system, it is actually being extracted and sent to repair your frayed nervous system. Step number 3, post-meal parasympathetic shifting. This step costs absolutely $0, but it is the hardest one for high achievers to execute. After you eat your lunch, you must remain seated, entirely disconnected from your screens, for exactly 5 minutes. No emails, no phone calls, no scrolling. You are going to take slow, deliberate breaths. This is not about relaxing for the sake of relaxing. This is raw physiology. Slow breathing directly stimulates your vagus nerve, which acts as the master switch for your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode. When you stimulate the vagus nerve, your blood vessels dilate and blood rushes back to your gastrointestinal tract. You are literally opening the physical gates for nutrients to enter your bloodstream. Now those 3 additions will completely change your baseline, but they will only work if you eliminate the habits that are actively fighting against them. That brings us to your stop doing list. Your first, stop eating late at night. Orsen bor certain darsasisopkenir, ursonin desosir, 13 antier horsir, itersodon bors. When you consume a heavy meal at 8:30 p.m., your body has to divert massive amounts of energy toward digestion during the exact hours it is supposed to be repairing brain tissue and consolidating memory. Late eating keeps your core body temperature elevated and blocks deep, restorative sleep. If you want crisp energy at 3 p.m. tomorrow, the kitchen needs to close by 7 p.m. tonight. Second, stop scrolling while chewing. Search. We talked about Richard and Austin, who ate his pristine salads while fighting fires over email. When you read stressful news or respond to demanding messages while chewing your food, your brain perceives a threat. It halts digestive enzyme production immediately. You might as well be throwing that expensive, healthy food directly into the trash. Eat your meal in peace, or don't eat it until you can. Let me bring this all back to Arthur, the 61-year-old architect from Seattle who sat in my office terrified that his brain was slipping away. Arthur didn't have early onset dementia. He had a biological bottleneck. We didn't put him on heavy cognitive medications. We asked his doctor to safely adjust his antacid use. We got him into the morning sun for 15 minutes. We added ginger to his morning yogurt to rebuild his stomach acid and intrinsic factor. And we forced him to put his phone in a drawer while he ate lunch. Within 4 weeks, the heavy, suffocating brain fog that hit him every afternoon began to lift. By week 8, he told me he felt sharper than he had in a decade. His frayed nervous system was finally getting the signal it needed. He wasn't broken, he was just biologically blocked. Your body is an incredibly resilient machine. It wants to heal. It wants to produce energy. You just have to stop fighting its basic engineering. Stop treating the symptom and start treating the system. I want to hear from you right now, and I want you to make a commitment. Comment. Starting today. If you are going to implement this morning light and digestive routine, under comment, asking my doctor. If you are going to bring up your medications and B12 absorption at your next visit, or comment, sending this. If you know a friend, a spouse, or a colleague who is completely exhausted and desperately needs to understand why. If you found this breakdown helpful, please share it with someone you care about. Save this video so you can reference the exact protocol tomorrow morning and hit the subscribe button to follow me for more high-performance health breakdowns grounded in real biology. I'm Dr. Marcus Thorne. Protect your baseline, trust your physiology, and I will see you in the next video.